Hi there. Welcome to Black Sheep.
Hey everybody, it's Fjola. I stopped at the shop today. Robin asked me to give her a little tip on doing a bind off or a pullover that she's working on. So I'm going to show you how to do a sewn bind off. It's also called the Italian bind off or Italian sewn bind off, Kitchener bind off, and it's makes for kind of an infinity edge. You may have also heard of a tubular bind off, which is essentially the same, but you knit a few setup rounds before you do the bind off I'm going to show you. So before we get started, I need a little swatch, and it's 18 stitches on the needles in a 1x1 rib. And to start, we need to get ourselves a tail to do the bind off with. The rule of thumb is you want 4 times the width of your piece. So I'm going to do 1. This will be 2 times the width, 4 times the width, and I don't like to play yarn chicken, so I'm going to give myself a little extra and cut that. Thread my needle. We are going to do 2 setup stitches before we start. So we're going to come in this first stitch, which is a knit stitch. We're going to come through purlwise, and then the next stitch is a purl stitch, so we're leaving this on, and we're going to go in the purl stitch knitwise, but we're going to come behind the work between the 2 stitches and kind of scoop through that purl stitch as if to knit and pull, not too tight. Now we can begin. We're going to go in through the first stitch as if to knit and take it off, and then go skip the purl stitch, and we're going to go through the next knit stitch as if to purl. And the trick here is to not catch your yarn on your needle tip, so I just put my finger right there. So now we're going to go in this purl stitch as if to purl. We're going to skip this knit stitch, come between the 2 stitches, and go into this purl stitch as if to knit. And that is my phone ringing. And we're going to repeat that. This is a knit stitch. We're going to take it off as if to knit, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch as if to purl. Now the first stitch is a purl stitch, so we go in as if to purl, skip this, come between them, go into the purl stitch as if to knit. A column of knit stitches, go in as if to knit, skip the purl, go into the next knit stitch as if to purl. First stitch is now a purl, purl, off, between the 2 stitches, and go in through that purl stitch as if to knit. Column of knit stitches as if to knit and off, skip the purl stitch, go into the next knit stitch as if to purl, column of purls, go in as if to purl, and now come between the 2 stitches, go into this purl stitch as if to knit, knit stitch, knit off, skip the purl. This is a column of knits, go in as if to purl, which leaves this front stitch It's a purl stitch. Go in as if to purl and take it off. Come between the two stitches. Go into this purl stitch as if to knit. Knit off, purl, purl off, knit, knit off, skip the purl, go in as if to purl, the knit stitch, and as you can see, you just need to manage your yarn a little bit. This is now a purl stitch, off, come between, purl off, between the two stitches, go through that last stitch as if to knit, knit off, and purl. We don't have any others, so there we go. And then you will weave in your ends, and this is hasn't been blocked, so it's a little lumpy, but you will get an infinity kind of edge, and it's nice and stretchy. Whereas if you were to do a traditional regular bind off, you would have what looks like a chain of stitches across here. So you would use this same technique if you were doing a tubular bind off. And the difference between this and a tubular, I did a tubular cast on, and if you can see, this is a little bit more 3D. It's a little puffier because there's an actual empty area inside of this, making it an actual tube. So if I were to do this on this end, it would have more of a curved edge to it. But I'm suggesting to Robin that she just do the sewn bind off because her cast on for her bottom ribbing and her sleeves was just a traditional cast on, so they don't have this 3D effect.